Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of From No Crypto to No Crypto. I'm your host, the Crypto Coach, Blockchain Wayne. Today we're joined by Tatiana Moroz. Tatiana, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here with everybody.
Definitely. It's a pleasure to have you on. I want to highlight what you're doing down in Miami, what you've done in the blockchain space, and we're going to talk about the Counterparty event that's coming up. But before we jump into that, can you tell everybody a little bit about your background? I know you've done a lot. We can talk about crypto, non-crypto. I know you've done a lot with music as well. So please share your background and what you've done in the past with our audience.
Sure. So my name's Tatiana Moroz. I'm from New Jersey. My mom is from Poland. My dad is from Brooklyn. So I have like a lot of spice in my background. Also, because of the whole communism thing, I grew up with a healthy mistrust of government and a lot of respect for music from the 60s and 70s. Those singer-songwriters that really moved the needle culturally and kind of really pushed back on the war machine had a really profound impact on my life. In 2012, I got involved with a Ron Paul campaign. So I was singing all around the country for Dr. Paul with Jordan Page and a bunch of other people. So that was a lot of fun. And then around that same time, I found out about Bitcoin. I became very, let's say, disillusioned with the political process once I saw what happened with Dr. Paul by his own party even. So I became immediately interested in Bitcoin as an alternative because I wouldn't have to have political arguments with people, but the goals of what I could actually achieve politically were a lot more attainable by using Bitcoin. So I wrote an early Bitcoin jingle called the Bitcoin Jingle. I also funded the first album, funded completely with Bitcoin, called Keep the Faith. And I funded that with Tatiana Coin. And Tatiana Coin was the first ever artist cryptocurrency in the world. So not first ever woman, no, just first ever artist. And so we use that to fund Keep the Faith, and that still exists. It's a token on Counterparty. And Counterparty is a protocol that is what we used to make Tatiana Coin originally, which I kind of wanted to get some attention for. But the reality is the event itself, called the Counterparty, is countering the political parties. You know, all last year, it was just nonstop. Oh, Daddy Trump this. Oh, Mama that. Like, I don't care. I'm more of an anarchist than anything. Like, I'm a libertarian from a practical perspective, but like, I'm not here to help these government stooges, gobble down our Bitcoins, right? Like, the reason why I wanted Bitcoin was because I wanted to fight the war machine. And there was no way that my sign that I was holding out was making any kind of an impact. So yeah, that's basically like how I got into Bitcoin. I've done a lot of advocacy work for Ross Ulbricht. Since early on, I have a lot of kind of subject matter in my songs that's freedom oriented or anti-war in nature. And I'm going to be launching an ordinals project in about a month too. So yeah, lots to talk about and go over.
Awesome. Lots to talk about. Well, first and foremost, I mean, definitely running in the circles with Ron Paul and the groups around there. I think a lot of people were exposed or became aware of Bitcoin around that time. And I love that. Healthy distrust is important because more and more people are starting to wake up now. I think when you did it, you were definitely a trendsetter, right? But more and more people are starting to realize that we can't really trust what's being said. We can't trust what the media is saying, what the political parties are saying. So it's important to have that because it's the only way to really preserve freedoms. So we got that. We also, hopefully by the time we're at this event, I say hopefully, I say definitely by the time we're at this event, we'll also be celebrating the release of Ross, because that was one of the promises that was made. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's going to be as quick as he said day one, or you think that's
Well, I think, look, I think that the bigger question is it going to happen, right? I feel like an 85% chance that he's going to do it. I don't think he's going to keep him locked up in there. It's enough. Everybody's pissed about it. He got most of his votes based on that. It's an easy win for him. What is it costing him to save this man his life, right? And he wants to be in the good graces of the Bitcoin community, which, he worked pretty hard to win us over. I'm still, look, no, just no. Like, I don't need the government to be like having their own strategic reserve. I guess, I don't know, like, yeah, no, I'm not that excited, but I do like the less adversarial relationship between Bitcoin and the government, right? Like the government has been making the crypto industry really have a lot of challenges for many years now. So I guess them leaving us alone a little bit would be great. But at the end of the day, it's the my precious, right? Everybody wants to have control over my precious. So here we are.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the two biggest things I'm actually looking forward to, if he follows through with, or freeing Ross
Hmm.
and eliminating Gary Gensler, firing Gary Gensler from the SEC. Now,
That would be nice.
Whether Gary gets fired or steps down, as long as he's gone, he's been one of the biggest adversaries when it came to that. Now, I remember when he got appointed to the SEC, I'm like, man, this guy's teaching blockchain, in colleges, and so maybe he's going to be really good. And then we were wrong on that one. And just
Yeah.
carry a role, it's really driven a lot of great companies and people that would want to build and operate here in the U.S. to other countries. I mean, because when I travel to Europe and Asia and elsewhere and talk to people that are building, I'm talking to Americans. I'm in other countries talking to Americans that have left so they can operate their businesses in a country that's not going to be hostile towards their business, or at least have enough clarity to where they know they won't be told tomorrow that, oh, by the way, your business is now illegal. And
Yeah.
that's really what people are looking for. They're just looking to be able to operate businesses, innovate, and what's happening has been really stifling innovation. So I'm like you. I don't think we need more regulations. I think we need less attacking, and the regulations. Yeah, focus on the central exchanges that hold people's money for them. That's probably where you need some oversight. But in terms of code and everything else, I think they need to get out the way and let innovation run.
Yeah, well, that's what America was already known for. My whole life, I remember when I would go to Poland, it was just after the remnants of communism, right? So you could still see the impact there. And it was just remarkable, everything that you could get in America, and you could get nothing there. Like, people don't realize how lucky we are to have what we do have. Unfortunately, that's been taken away incrementally, especially over the past 20 years. So we'll see. Maybe I should be a little bit more optimistic, but the point of the event is not to be talking about political parties or, begging daddy government for permission. It's actually about creating alternative solutions. So we have a lot of different subjects, right? So we have privacy as a focus and security. Our mutual friend, Nathan Hawk, is going to be kind of directing a lot of our speakers in that regard, because we've got a lot of really good speakers on those subjects. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin economics. I've somebody talking about some Bitcoin legal issues. I'm not sure exactly what he's going to talk about, but what I'd like to do is basically set people up for realistic expectations. Like, a lot of times people will do something and they're like, well, I have a contract, and oh, well, he ripped me off, I'm just going to get my money back through the courts. And it's like, yeah, not exactly that simple. So we'll see what Mark ends up talking about. But we've got a lot of media people, we've got NFT people, we've got art people, we've got Adam Krellenstein from the Counterparties coming. I have a couple friends from the Ordinals community that are coming. I'm still confirming a couple companies as well, bigger companies, so that'll be cool. And then my friends, the Taproot Witches, who introduced me to that kind of space. And then who else do I have? I mean, obviously you guys are going to be there, so that's going to be really cool. Paul Quay from Edge Wallet is going to be there. I don't know. I mean, we've got over 40 speakers. So if people go to thecounterparty.com, they can just look it up right there, because I'm having a hard time keeping track of everybody.
Yeah, nice. And I think I also saw, is there going to be some real estate stuff too?
Yes. Do you know Eric Mendelson? So Eric Mendelson and I have been really good friends for a long time, from the music and Bitcoin side, right, and the NFT side. But actually, he's the real estate wizard, and I think he's done more real estate deals than anybody out there. So in terms of like Bitcoin deals and stuff like that, so he'll be talking a lot about that stuff. And actually, yeah, that reminds me, I gotta see, while we're talking, I can't forget these things. I gotta call up the people at Proppy and see if I can get her to come over, because she's very smart and interesting. Anyway, yeah, I mean, the nice thing about Miami is that there's a lot of people in the area. Like most of our speakers, some of them are flying in, but most of them are just, within an hour or two of Miami. So, and then that week we have WAGMI, which is the Web3 conference that Mo puts on every year. It wasn't Web3 before. It's kind of had some iterations, but, I think there's just going to be a lot of people in town in general. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's definitely what we're looking forward to. We're also going to be attending, speaking, sponsoring at WAGMI as well.
Oh, okay,
Was,
cool.
yeah, I think it's original. I mean, it's ran for over 10 years. It's the North American Bitcoin Conference, one of the
Hmm.
bigger conferences, and now being WAGMI. And Miami has really turned into I think a hub, when you think of crypto in the US, I mean, most people think Miami.
Or
Um,
Austin, but like Austin isn't nearly as fun.
right. Yeah. And it's definitely gonna be nice weather. I mean, we're even if the whole country's frozen over, Miami, even if it gets a little chilly, it's still gonna be very nice in January.
I mean, what's our version of chilly, right? Like, I do think that if I was coming to Miami and it was, 70, I would be annoyed, but like, whatever. I think it's fine.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be nice. I think it's really this next week that's gonna be really cold and get down deep into South Florida even. But by the time
Yeah,
the
but
event
the
rolls around,
markets are heating up.
yeah, yeah,
Bitcoin went
just
up 100. It's like 102 right now, so that's pretty decent.
yeah, yeah, it's been good. I'm actually about to make a video about that, about just the market volatility that we're gonna see in terms of big pumps, potentially some drops, and really some of the things behind it. And I think all this talk about strategic reserves, whether it's countries or businesses, um, it's going to create a bigger demand for Bitcoin. It's going to be harder to find. What you're going to see is less liquidity on exchanges. And so when you have less liquidity, which means less Bitcoin available for trading, you can see the price either go up or down a lot rapidly. But overall, I mean, we're getting some user adoption. I'd love to see like more in general user adoption, especially in places and countries where people need it. Yeah, I'm kind of neutral when it comes to the only positive of if the U.S. creates a strategic Bitcoin reserve is it makes our Bitcoin more scarce, right? But we don't necessarily need it, but we also can't stop it either. So it's like, we just
Yeah,
gotta.
well, you know what? We're on an upswing right now, and I think hopefully people like. I'm trying to think of what lessons did I learn from the last bear market, because I feel like sometimes people make mistakes, like like the gambler, right? You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Let's not get greedy, everybody, right? Like
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. I just hope that I hope that a lot more freedom people keep their bags this time, because I think a lot of people won't necessarily admit it, but a lot of people lost a ton of money last time. And
yeah,
and it's just hard to like fight for freedom if everybody's poor. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So,
And I think I mean, the biggest lessons to learn were the two big black swan events from last cycle, which was FTX and Terra Luna, right? I mean, those were the two.
mhm,
And when you look at the lessons to learn from that, obviously FTX is not your keys, not your crypto. You shouldn't leave
mhm.
your crypto on exchanges unless you're in the middle of a trade, right? Outside of that, you should be holding it in preferably cold storage, right? And then Terra Luna was everybody was enamored with this. 20% return by just staking the stable coin. And then when that stable coin, got attacked, it lost its peg. And people learning that there's no such thing as guaranteed returns. And, I teach people all the time that, but, when they look at it, it had gotten so big that caused a lot of things to drop. Um, so those things are kind of two lessons. I think the greed lesson that there's no guaranteed returns. But when I teach people about Bitcoin, it's really for the long term. It's not to sell tomorrow. It's not to sell in a year. It's really this is why you need it. And then the not your keys, not your crypto. Hopefully, is the other lesson that people learn. Anything else you saw last cycle that you think was just like really, or since like from last cycle till now that you think other lessons that people need to look at or learn from that?
I just want people to stop having so much faith in government. You know what I mean? Like, they're not your friends. I don't think that, look, I'm not 5 years old. Not everybody in government is evil and like, cackling with like adrenochrome coursing through their veins. Although some of them a
Yeah,
little dicey. Uh, but at the end of the day, like, I just feel like everybody likes it when their Bitcoin bags go up, right? But we should remember why we did this, right? And I did this personally specifically because of the anti-war focus, right? Because I wanted to take away my money from the endless printer that constantly ended up bombing children in my name. And I hope that when people are advocating to Daddy Trump, that they're remembering that these are kind of some of the benefits, because some people say that Donald Trump was actually very poor on war. I did an interview with Scott Horton. I don't know if you're familiar with him, from antiwar.com.
mhm,
And he basically would shred my illusions that Donald Trump had um, an anti-war background. He basically had drone bombed more than Obama. He actually, I just found this out the other day. So Anwar al-Awlaki was that guy that they were persecuting from the government, and Obama killed his son, who was 16, who was a U.S. citizen, who was looking for his dad, and he drone bombed him, right? And everybody was so upset. Actually, did you know that Donald Trump did the same thing to his daughter? It's literally the same exact thing, but everybody thinks that Donald Trump is like the peace guy. Look, he just got in, or he's not even in there. Let's give him a chance. Let's try and be a little optimistic, but let's get real here. At the end of the day, he might not be your standard politician, but there's a war machine that is behind our government. And so if people have this wonderful gift of Bitcoin, let's not just waste it on stupid Lambos and dumb stuff. Like, I really appreciate the fact that you guys are supporting the event. Like, we're also doing some fundraising for the Monero community through Kuno. And like, I didn't do any pay to play at all. Like, I literally just picked people because I thought that they were good speakers. So, you know, I mean, obviously that sucks because like I need to make money and I don't know if I will, but I'm just hoping to break even at this point, right? But you know, it would be nice if like I actually did make money, but like that's not why I do it, right? Like, no matter what, if I was super rich or if I wasn't, I would still be doing this kind of stuff because I think building out the community is really important. And also, like, not just talking about, you know, Bitcoin and economics, but, you know, the wellness aspect of what we're doing, I think is really important. I have a good friend from an app called 8 Evolve, and it's about, you know, all like the spiritual side of wellness. Because if you want to run a business and you want to make $1 bajillion, like, you got to be, how you going to win if you ain't right within, right? Yeah. And so, you know, like between that and the food stuff, I also have Kristen Megan coming. She's going to be talking about medical freedom, like medical freedom. Hello. Do we learn anything yet? Right. Okay. We got MAGA coming up. MAGA. Okay. Make America healthy again. Well, what does that mean? Sounds like a communist slogan, if you ask me. Let's see what they come up with, right? Got to keep an eye on these people. And there have been these activists that have been in the space for longer than, oh, look, like I got into Bitcoin in 2020. I'm an OG. Like, no, you're not. Just go back and read some Dr. Paul.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, like I'm excited about Kristen Megan coming. Mike Benz, I don't know if you've seen him on Tucker Carlson. He's supposed to speak. Just like a ton of really awesome people. So the people are coming up on there all the time. So if people go to thecounterparty.com, they can just look it up. And right now I'm still doing the discounted early bird tickets. So they're only $125. They'll go up at some point. I just haven't shot them up because I feel like, I don't know, like I feel like people are fronting like they're rich, but like people are still struggling. So I want to make it affordable. It's 2 days of like, I don't know, 20 hours of programming. So yeah, people have no excuse. They can just make their way down here. Miami's expensive, but you know, you can get an Airbnb in a skanky part of town and you'll be fine.
Yeah, that's what we did. We got an Airbnb in Brickell, and we're just gonna stay there with our team. And it's really not bad. I mean, I've been to other cities. I know there's other cities that cost a lot more, but I'm actually looking forward to it. I mean, I knew a lot of the freedom focused people were going to be there. Talking about health and wellness is important too. I think that's missed out. You're right. I mean, if someone doesn't have a sound mind or sound body, how are you going to make good decisions, or how are you going to be around long enough to make sure you can make an impact? So that's good to know.
Yeah, I have. Do you know Carrie Wedler?
No.
Okay, so Carrie Wedler is like one of my favorite people. I'm still looking to find a way to bring her out, and you know, I'm sourcing these sponsorships, right? And she's coming from California and she doesn't have money, so I gotta like bring her out or whatever. And so yeah, basically she was the girl that lit the Obama shirt on fire, and she's very famous libertarian kind of activist, anarchist type person. And she basically really opened my eyes at one point, showing like, look, all these people, they want to, you know, fight Obama. They want to fight the power. They want to fight everybody, but they can't even conquer the beast that's within themselves, right? And so we're having a well-balanced, well-rounded kind of event. So hopefully people can learn some survival skills, some internal survival skills, you know. So it's going to be good.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that. You know, that's what's needed. It's more than just about, hey, let's focus just on blockchain. Let's focus on everything that's important that people can utilize to improve themselves, their life. And that's really, I'll tell people all the time, I mean, I wouldn't have gotten to where I was today if it wouldn't have been all the investments I put back into my own personal development and studying and That's the problem with today. People you mentioned earlier, people that have been in Bitcoin for 4 years say they're OG, but they don't even understand the history of Bitcoin. A lot of the teachings of Ron Paul and others um, that really started this movement. And I really think it's funny. Like, we need to bring that back to the surface, because that's what's missing in a lot of these, whether it's events or just anywhere where people are talking about it. Because then you get blinded by the Lambos, and then you end up with all these people that think that, oh, if it's the fastest network, it's the best, or that's going to make the most money. And it really becomes about money. And for me, it's
Yeah,
always
I
been,
hear you. I agree. That's not what it's about at all. But, I mean, look, I like money. I wish I had more Bitcoin. I wish I had any Bitcoin, but like, that's okay. There's a chance for things to kind of go up, and there's still chances for people to get involved. And most importantly, like, we've got the attention of the world. What are we going to do with it?
right.
Are we going to show them like our best side or our greedy side? I think that we can do better.
Yeah. And even for anybody listening, if you're thinking about like buying a Lambo with your Bitcoin, I'll always share the story of my friend Jim. I don't know if you know Jim Blasco. He's going to
Oh
be
yeah, of course.
yeah. So he's going to be in Miami for the event. But he bought a yellow
Oh,
Lambo, and
tell Jim to come to my counterparty. I wanted him to come out, but
yeah,
yeah.
I will. If you haven't talked to him yet, I will. He's
Sure.
coming for. I know he's coming for WAGMI, so I'll let him know. But his
Mhm.
Lambo has a license plate. He bought it in 2017 with Bitcoin,
Mhm.
and the license plate says 40 BTC. So
Mhm.
he spent 40 Bitcoin on that Lambo, and think about what that's worth today, 4 million,
Wow.
right? And so people that think you want to buy a Lambo with your Bitcoin, just think about that. I mean, it's more of a wealth accumulation tool. And most people say they wish that they got into Bitcoin in 2010, 2011, 2012. And most people, if you didn't understand the principles of why this is important, you would have sold it when it went from $1 to 100, or went from 100 to 1,000, right? Most people wouldn't be in
Yeah.
it anymore. And so that's why it's important to understand the principles. And even when people come to me, they want to learn about, I want to learn about this crypto or that crypto. Okay, let's start with Bitcoin. Let's start with Bitcoin. Why Bitcoin? What makes it important? What is it? What are some of the principles behind it? Why did people get in behind it early on? Kind of like you're talking
Mhm.
about. And then you can make better decisions instead of aping into the latest meme coin because you think it's going to make you a millionaire.
Well, that's why all the economic stuff is so important. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I think this is why I always thought it was so important for artists to get involved too. Is like, artists have the control of a lot of different people, right? People want to do what we say, they want to listen to us. But if artists have no understanding of how economics work, then how are they supposed to give good advice in their songs about how to save the world, right? Like, a lot of people are just like giving like a communist message. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa there, John Lennon. Slow
Yeah,
down there. Let's not imagine that. Let's imagine a little better,
yeah.
like
Well,
all that great talent, but like selling like not necessarily the right ideas. And like a lot of times you think, the reason why I didn't like Dr. Paul as much in 2008 and why I liked Ennis Kucinich was because I was like, well, what kind of a jerk doesn't like the EPA? Don't you want healthcare? What do you don't like people like, what do you want grandma to die?
yeah,
So once you understood like how those kinds of systems can be used to kind of trick you, that's when you become a useful advocate. And that's when music and a message become very powerful.
yeah.
And that's really what I've focused my whole career on. And now that with the event, like that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to come up with different ways for people to be empowered that don't require just voting and stuff. Look, I'm having my friends from the Libertarian Party come. I'm allowing it because on the local level, I do think that that stuff is actually pretty important.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm looking forward to it. Definitely excited about that. Can you share again? I know you said it during the podcast, but one last time for anybody that's listening, the website to.
Oh, thecounterparty.com. So they could think of Counterparty the protocol, but it's not that. They're just friends of the project. Thecounterparty.com. And they can find me Queen Tatiana on Twitter, and I'm on social media everywhere. So let's be friends. And thanks again for supporting the event and giving me a chance to talk to your audience too.
Oh, awesome! Thanks again. It's been amazing having you on. Definitely. So we've got that same website in the description below. Also, make sure to check out. We have a discount code that you can utilize. FEOFAM will give you 15% off on those tickets. But if you're on the fence about coming to Miami, it's going to be a great week. We've got WAGMI earlier in the week, finishing off the weekend with the Counterparty. Both important events. I'm looking forward to both of them. I have to be honest. I think more from the principal side. I'm looking more forward to yours than WAGMI, but it's all going to be a fun time, right?
I agree. Definitely
hopefully
happy to
you'll
have
come.
WACMI's support. They put us on their website, so I'm grateful to Mo for that. So hopefully, I actually have a free ticket to there, which was really nice. My friends over at Bit Basel, they hooked it up. So anyway, fantastic. Thanks a lot. And looking forward to your talk, and keeping everybody in line at the event.
Yeah, absolutely. Same. All right, everyone. So make sure to see us in Miami if you can make it there, if it's possible. I mean, the whole country is going to be frozen over that time. So come down to sunny Miami and see us down there. So thanks again, Tatiana, for joining us. Thanks, everyone, for listening. And we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care, everybody.